Hi, I'm Carl Horner, pastor here at Shore Church, and
I'm Nick Raber, youth pastor here. Some of you have met me, some of you haven't, but I'm here, I'm working, even though the world is falling apart. But Carl and I are working pretty closely together, working on some videos and things like that. So it's good to be here. It's good to be working, serving each one of you.
And we're coming to you today, midweek, and this is something we talked about. We thought we'd try to do this every week during this time when we're not supposed to be going out. We want to give a preview of the sermon and stuff. This is our first week to be able to do that midweek. This is actually the first day of the stay-at-home order, and churches are called essential businesses, and so it's okay for us to be at the church and go to work. So that's what we're doing, just trying to help people and get the word out about who Jesus is and try to lessen the anxiety of people out there. So we've got this passage today. For Sunday, it's going to be Matthew 18, 21 through 35. And so during the week, look at the passage, look at some of the things we say today, and think about what this means for your own life. This is a passage about forgiveness. So you've got Jesus traveling with 12 disciples, as well as there are others. There are others who are also traveling, some other men, some other women. So don't know how big the group was, but it could be 20, 25 easily. And so you've got all these people traveling together, and then Peter asks a question that seems very specific, and it's about a question about getting along and forgiveness.
I can't help but think Peter, he had something or someone specific in mind when he asked this question. He says, Lord, how often will my brother sin against me and I forgive him? And so he's traveling with these 20-some people, especially the 12 disciples. He's with them all the time. Is there one of them specifically that he has in mind that is continually sinning against him? And so he asked Jesus, how many times am I supposed to forgive him? And Jesus' answer is probably a little bit different than what Peter had anticipated.
I'm thinking Peter probably thought he would say, oh, well, you did 7. Man, that's really good. But Jesus doesn't say that. Matter of fact, what he ends up saying is the number doesn't matter. How many times is never going to be enough, no matter what that number ends up being. And so suddenly we're left thinking. So Peter's thinking, well, 7 times, man, that ought to be enough. And Jesus says, no, it's going to be a number so big, 77 or 70 times 7, or the number's not what we're talking about here. And instead, we're talking about something different than that.
Another thing that I think Jesus is talking about here is there's going to be times in our lives when we're in relationships with people, whether it's family or friends or coworkers, where we kind of get into this cycle of hurt, or this spiral of hurt where somebody, they will hurt you, and then you are called to forgive them, and you have this spiral of they hurt you, you forgive them, they hurt you, you forgive them, and it continues to spiral down. And I think Jesus is calling us, no matter how many times this spirals down and that person hurts you, you're called to forgive them each and every time.
And it's interesting, and then as you keep looking through the passage, you do get the idea that if you're keeping count, then that means you haven't truly forgiven them. And so then it's like, oh wow, so I'm just supposed to forgive no matter what. And then by the time you get to the end of the passage, verse 35, you've got Jesus making a very strong statement that basically is, you must forgive in order for God to forgive you. And I want to talk about that more on Sunday, but it's kind of like you've got this, you've got a capacity. And if you're filled to capacity with unforgiveness, then there's no room for forgiveness to also come in there. And so I want you to be thinking about that, thinking about your own lives. What does that mean in our own lives? A lot of us have a lot more time alone or a lot more time in the house than we're used to. be thinking about their relationships and what does that mean, and what is Jesus saying about the relationships. So Sunday, actually by late Saturday, we'll have the sermon for Sunday posted on the church YouTube channel, and the link will be on the Facebook page. And as you listen to the sermon, feel free to make comments, leave comments either on the YouTube channel page or on the Facebook page, and we'll try to answer some of the comments, or maybe some others of you will have fun responding to some of the comments. And I think we can just do an interchange and learn from each other that way. So until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, rely on God, and we'll see you later.